in Mailmare and I, in her defense, Chapter 3. The last 2 months flew by in the blink of an eye, and I settled in my routine. My fridge was packed with muffins of various flavors, and my desk had less crumpled papers. I made some attempt to write, but I could barely stay still for more than 5 minutes. However, one day something fell off. She usually arrived at noon, but there was no knock at my door. I looked out the window, she wasn't there. Where could she have been? The only times I wouldn't normally see her were Sundays, but it was definitely a Monday. I striked it up, thinking she had a busy day, didn't have time to see me. Understandable, but she told me about the days she would have to work extra hours. 2 days had passed since then. No Derpy, no note, no nothing. I began to worry. Was she okay? Was she sick? My thoughts steered her worse. I tried to convince myself I was overreacting, but suddenly felt like I was eating away at my consciousness. I had enough of waiting. I went straight to the post office to see if she was there. Upon walking in, I find a big stallion, an intimidating-looking fellow. This must have been the boss she was talking about. I wouldn't want to be yelled by this guy either. "Excuse me," I asked him. He turned to me, spitting tobacco on his spittoon. "Patooey! 15 love." "What do you want? Did you slay on Bisley?" he asked in a gruff voice. "I didn't mean to bother you, but is Derpy here? I haven't seen her for a few days." He leaned over to my face. I gotta say, I was afraid he'd beat me up. "What's Derpy to you?" "I'm a friend of hers, and I was worried. Is she okay?" "Friend? Didn't know she had any friends." My hesitance to talk to him soon became impatience. I didn't have time to listen to him talk about her lack of friends, as unfortunate as that was. "I'm a friend, so do you mind?" I asked, this time with more demand in my voice. He paused, then looked at me as if he knew me. "Wait a second," he realized. "You're the cold she won't shut up about. Probably the reason why she's late for her shift sometimes, too. If I had half a mind." I had enough of this. I got in his face, stared him down. Never done this before. Deep down, I thought the day would end with me getting beaten up by this massive stallion. "You know, dude, if you're really worried about Derpy getting into trouble, why not just talk to her, seeing you, sometime after she's done working? Wait until after she's done her assignments, then wait for her to come out. She's not working all the time. Post office workers normally work until 5 o'clock. She can finish then see you." "Yeah, I'm the cult she's talking about. I'm the one who's been spending time with her, and I'm the one who's made her late for her shifts. I apologize for the last part, but I don't have time for your little intimidation game. Either tell me if she's okay, or I'll find somebody else who can." I mentally prepared myself for the punch that I was so sure would come. Thankfully, that punch never came to pass. Instead, he spit another gob of tobacco into his spittoon and turned away from me. "Patooey! 30 love." "Okay," he said. "I believe you. I gotta say, you're braver than I figured." I sighed, happy that I wasn't going to receive the beating of a lifetime. "So, can you help me?" He still hadn't told me anything yet. "Yeah, she called in sick the past couple of days. Must be one heck of a cold. Never thought of her as a sickly type. I guess when it hits hard." So, she was sick. While I was relieved it was nothing worse than that, I still wanted to see her. Maybe see if I could make her feel better. "Thank you. Can you give me her address? I just want to say hi and wish her well." "Sure thing, kid. Give me a moment." His attitude towards me was much friendlier than it was not a couple of minutes ago. It's a good thing he was being cooperative. I would have hated to see what would have transpired if the opposite happened. Matter of moments, he gave me her address, and I was on my way to see her. "So you just went and gave a random guy who says he was her friend her address?" "Thank goodness he's not a murderer." I found her house with no problem. As a gift, I bought her a bouquet of roses. I didn't know what kind of roses she liked. She never once told me about it during our hangouts. but I hoped she would at least appreciate the generosity. It was a very nice looking house, once you get past the cracks on the walls and the slightly fogged windows. I walked up to the steps, roses in my half. Happily, they were thorn, and knocked on the door. "Go away!" she yelled in her voice. Derpy's angry? What happened? What made her so mad? I put the roses down quickly. "Derpy, it's me." A pause. I heard footsteps at the door. Nearby curtains moved. I saw Derpy look through the window, back at me. She gasped and immediately ducked down. "Can't see you today. Can you come back later?" she said. "I'm sorry. I didn't mean to startle you, but I haven't seen you for a few days. I asked your boss where you were, and he told me you were sick." "You saw my boss?" "Yeah. He was pretty intimidating. I can see why you'd be afraid of him being mad. Look, I feel awkward about having a conversation with a door, so can I see you, please?" "Don't want you getting sick." "I'm very resistant to illness. I'll take my chances." I lied. Any hint of sickness, and I could have a stuffed nose faster than you could say muffin. I still wanted to see her. Seconds passed, and the door finally opens, but just a crack. I could only see her left eye, and a bit of her mane protruding from the crack. "I bought these for you." I picked the roses back up. "How did you know roses were my favorite?" Her eye widens. I paused. I didn't know. I couldn't give her a coherent answer with the flowers in my mouth. Thinking for a moment, I shrugged my shoulders. So finally, she opened the door just enough for me to enter. She hung her head down as she was hiding something. The inside was quite a bit nicer than the outside, from what I could see. The curtains were covering up most of the light, so even the things I could see, it wasn't much. Nevertheless, the place definitely was a fixer-upper. Not perfect, but livable. However, her living quarters were the last thing on my mind at the moment. I placed the roses into a nearby vase and put some water for it to sink into it. As I stepped back from the vase, Derpy stepped in smelling the roses. "These are nice, thanks," she said, finding the smell to be a comfort. She walked past me and sat on the couch, not wanting to be rude. I sat next to her. She looked at me with a hint of regret, and still only visible in the left eye. "I'm sorry I didn't see you the past couple of days. You must be worried." "Well, only a little," I smirked, hiding the fact that I was being overdramatic for the time she was gone. "But at least you're okay." She remained silent. Something was wrong. I could feel it in my gut. "You are okay, right?" "Right?" She doesn't say anything. All she did was slowly shake her head, signifying no, she wasn't all right. "You're not sick, are you?" I asked, now with more worry in my voice than ever. She nodded just as slowly as before, trying not to cry. On instinct, I tried to put my hoof on her shoulder. "Derpy, what's—" She instantly flinched at my lightest tap, afraid to let me touch her. "What's the matter?" "If—" She paused, hesitant what she was about to say next. "If I show you, promise you won't get mad?" "What? About what? What is it?" "Please promise me." "It's okay, fine, I promise." She got up from the couch and walked to the curtains. Slowly she opened them up, the light of the sun shining through the window, showing herself to me. My jaw nearly detached itself from me when I looked upon her appearance. I was shocked to find parts of her body covered in bandages, right wing wrapped up in gauze, her right eye black. She had a cut on her lip slowly healing. It looked like she applied the bandages to herself. "All right, whosoever hurt Derpy must pay. We're all going to make her pay." I wasn't mad. I was furious. "What happened? Who did this to you?" I yelled. She flinched again. "You promised." I tried to calm down, but I thought at some point hurting my closest friend made my blood boil. "I'm sorry. Tell me what happened," I said, attempting to sound gentle, but the anger in my voice was still ever so present. Her once cheerful voice started with fear. "There are these cults outside Ponyville. I pass them every day on my routes. They make fun of me, call me names. I try to ignore them. A few days ago, they got tired of me ignoring them. They threw rocks at me, knocked out of the sky. It really hurt." She began to cry. Every ounce of my being wanted to hold her, but I was afraid she would turn away again. "Before I knew it, I ran as fast as I could back to my house, afraid he would come back to hurt me again." "Where are they?" I asked sternly. Well, instead of telling this random guy, you could always bring out the rainbow dash. Let me have a few seconds. She escorted me to the cultist hangout spot. It took a while to get there as she was scared, not only for herself but for me. There I saw them. There were 4 of them. They are big, and way bigger than Derpy. I watched them talking, laughing, picturing them hurting her. They were probably laughing then, too. Wait here, I told her. She grabbed my foreleg, trying to hold me back. No, please, it's okay. Let's just go. I'm not going anywhere. It'll be fine, trust me. I gave her a gentle smile, trying my best to calm her. Slowly, she let me go. I walked toward the 4 cults. I didn't care they were bigger than me. What I told Derpy was the truth. I was going to make sure she wouldn't be bothered by these punks again, even if it meant I was going to get hurt in the process. One of the cults saw me coming, and also saw Derpy. Hey, look, guys! Before we continue this acting, we here at Speedster Studios would like to remind all of you that are watching this that Legend Bringer does not believe in calling these people that, nor does he actually believe in using this as an insult against innocent people. As such, if you are triggered by what he is about to say, need to actually remind you that these are bad guys, these are jerks, and you're supposed to love them. So, instead of getting triggered by them, get angry, be mad, right for Rainbow Jazz to come kick their butts. The retard for a friend. I didn't even give him the time of day. In an instant, I decked him in the face with my right hoof. Before I could give a second punch, he gained up on me, delivering blow after blow. I had little to no experience in fighting. It wasn't my style. Their punches hurt a lot. They knocked off my glasses, stopping them as they continued to knock me around. They gave me a swirly, gave me a wedgie, proceeded to give me wet willies, and then stole my lunch money! The thing was, I was too angry to care. In an instant, I bucked one in the face, knocking his teeth out, along with him. I headbutted another, gave another my left and right hose. There was one left. He was scared, and I was still extraordinarily mad. I tackled him to the ground and hit him hard till he pleaded. No, enough, I'm sorry! He shouted in pain, front teeth missing. If I ever find you've hurt her again, I swear, Celestia! Dude, call the police. I raised my hook to deliver another blow. No, wait, okay, we'll leave her alone. Just let's go. We won't tell anybody about this. It took all of me not to him again. I could have done worse. I should have done worse. But that would have made me any better than they were. Be sure you don't, was the last thing I told him before I let him go. He woke his friends up, and they all galloped in fear. The moment they made their exit, the adrenaline coursing through my body wore off. The pain began to set in. I realized I was bloodied and beaten. My right eye fell swollen and my glasses destroyed. It turned out that my day didn't end with me being beaten up by a massive stallion, but me getting beaten up by 4 big colts. Not sure which one I would have preferred. I wobbled and fell to the ground. Derby ran to me, held me in her forelegs, trying to keep me awake. I could see she was happy, but she was crying. Out of joy or out of sadness, I didn't know. I brought my hook to her face, wiping away the tears, caressing her cheek. I looked to the sky and nope! We're not usually see through my eyes on this one. Darn it! There were no words between us. All he did was embrace me. It was nice to be held by another. It was relaxing. Almost too relaxing. I slid down consciousness in seconds. Chapter 4. A Realization. I woke up to find myself in a hospital bed. The bandages all over my body. The pads over my right eye. My vision was blurred. I couldn't see much without my glasses. Those were utterly destroyed by my encounter with the cults. Someone appeared to be Derpy, properly bandaged, leaning over the right side of my bed, waiting for me to awaken. Looking a little closer, I could definitely see it was her. She looked down at me, noticing I was now awake. Her unbandaged eye widens in happiness. Your sweetheart! He's awake! Immediately, a white nurse pony, who I'm certain to be this nurse Redheart, looked in on the left side, both a look of relief and annoyance fell on her face. Thank Celestia. What were you thinking, making this poor mare drag your sorry flank over here? I couldn't say much at the time. Only things that could come out of my mouth were a series of incomprehensible grumbles. Don't break a sweat. It's only a rhetorical question. You're on some pain meds, so you might be out of it for a few minutes. Understand? Just nod if you understand what I'm saying. I nodded. Redheart glanced at Derpy, then back at me. She laughed. Yes, Nanny. You almost have the same amount of bandages as each other. It was true. We both have injuries on our right eye, more or less the same spots on our bodies. The only difference was her wing. As I'm just a regular earth pony. You're not? We're bandage buddies! Derpy happily yells, getting close to me as he says it. I laughed at her statement, and laughing was still incredibly injured made my sides hurt bad. The medication wasn't exactly helping. All it was doing was making me feel drowsy, prevented me from having an actual conversation with her. Nevertheless, I was surprised at the dark sense of humor that developed from her. I think she was just trying to make herself feel better, and I admired her for that. Redheart wasn't laughing. She shook her head and left me and Derpy alone. Crazy ponies, she said to herself as she walked away from my vision. Don't listen to Redheart. What's any trouble getting you here? Honest. She chuckled to herself, probably remembering some amusing shenanigan that she encountered when she dragging my reckless self over to the hospital. Their cheeks had a soft bit of red on them. She was blushing. Never seen her blush before until today. It was cute. Oh, thank you, she said softly, for standing up for me. No pony has ever done that for me before. Well, Derpy, if you really want to thank him, you should... Yes, go on. Take him out for dinner? Good. She looked around the hospital room, as if to make sure nobody else was looking. She leaned in close to me and she whispered to me, I don't know if you'll remember this, but... Mwah! In a swift motion, she kissed me on the cheek. I wasn't so injured and still coming out of consciousness. Imagine my face would be glowing a bright crimson. It was a moment I was never going to forget. Within the hour, I regained full consciousness, but Derpy didn't stay with me for long at the hospital after that. She told me she had something to take care of, and it was important. I offered to walk her home, but Redheart forbade me from leaving for the night. No matter how much I pleaded, she wouldn't let me leave. I'll give her this. She may have been stubborn as a mule. Hey! No offense. But she did her job extremely well. Nevertheless, I had no choice but to let Derpy go. That night in the hospital was the most unpleasant I had in Ponyville. I was in pain, the place smelled funny, I was surrounded by a closed curtain, no view of the outside, and worse, this place wasn't anything like Scrubs! My bed was uncomfortable. I was so used to soft fluffy beds that the rough bed I was in now made my wounds on my body feel worse. But then, I filled my thoughts with Derpy, thinking that those moments I spent her were the best. I've had my time during my time here. These thoughts in the society intense pain I was in. I remember the stories I told her, the fragrant muffin baskets she brought, and the bubbly personality I found so charming. Then something dawned on me. That something was a feeling. A feeling I never felt in my brief existence. That, sir, is called a boner! I'm in love with her! I said to myself, I'm in love with Derpy! That's great! Now shut up! The patient next to me yelled. Sure, why not? Psychic tricks! I thought love was only true in fairy tales. Meant for someone else, but not for me. Love was out to get me. That's the way it seemed. Disappointment haunted all my dreams. Then I saw her face. Now I'm a believer. Not a trace. A doubt in my mind. I'm in love. Ooh, I'm a believer. I couldn't leave her if I tried. I thought love was more or less a given thing. Seems the more I gave, the less I got. Oh yeah. What's the use of trying? All you get is pain. When I needed sunshine, I got rain. Then I saw her face. Now I'm a believer, and not a trace of doubt in my mind. I'm in love. Ooh, I'm a believer. I couldn't leave her if I tried. Oh, love was out to get me. That's the way it seemed. Disappointment haunted all my dreams. Then I saw her face. Now I'm a believer. Not a trace of doubt in my mind. I'm in love. Ooh. I'm a believer. I couldn't leave her if I tried. Yes, I saw her face. Now I'm a believer. Not a trace of doubt in my mind. Said I'm a believer. Yeah. I'm a believer. I couldn't leave her if I tried. Woo! The things you do for a song cue. At least I'm not shivering this time. No. But Darcy thinks you damaged part of the studio just by dancing. I had no idea there was anyone else in the room. I couldn't see anything because of that dang curtain. Now here I was, in an uncomfortable hospital bed, letting out an admission to whoever it was in the room with me. To say I was embarrassed was the understatement of the decade. Sorry, I whispered, sinking back into bed. Morning came, and Red Heart let me go, explaining that I should keep the bandages on for a couple of days. Walking home was fairly difficult, either from the bandage on my eye, that without my glasses my vision was less than perfect, or the fact that I was still on pain medication. My sense of balance was all off during the long walk home. Luckily, it was still early in the day, and the town wasn't packed with ponies that I would risk bumping into. With a few close calls, I was able to get home relatively safely. Walking inside, the first thing I did was go back to my soft, comfortable bed, clasped onto it, like it was the greatest thing in all Equestria. I think I slept for the rest of the day. The days passed and I was getting better. The cuts were healing. I was able to open my swollen eye, though just a little bit. I did see Derpy during those days, but boy did I see them in my dreams! And the thought crossed my mind that those cults went after her for revenge. Blacked all that out, thinking she just wanted me to rest. A full week passed. My injuries were almost fully healed. My eye no longer swollen, but still darkened. My cuts and bruises were fading. The first thing I did was go back to the post office, hoping to surprise Derpy. She wasn't there, but her boss had told me she'd been arriving every day, tired. I was relieved she was okay, but I did wonder what was making her so tired. It was possible my encounter with him made him more polite. Pretty sure his good mood was because Derpy had come and worked on time. Arriving back at the house, before I could open the door, I heard a familiar voice behind me. Hello. I turned to see Derpy, all smiles and fully healed, with an envelope in her mouth. I wanted to tell her right there how I felt about her, but I stopped myself from saying something I could have possibly regretted. She motioned to me to take the envelope in her mouth. What did I do? Don't open it until I leave, okay? Sure. That's all I replied with. It's the only thing I could reply with. She nodded and flew away. It's good to see her wing had healed up nicely. I watched her leave until she was out of my field of vision. Immediately, upon entering my home, I opened the envelope. Inside was a note, once again written in red crayon. Come by my house at 7 for a surprise, it said, followed by a crudely drawn smiley face. Whips and chains and kinky leather. This guy's going to get laid tonight. Whoever this guy is.